Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm John Zidar. My guest behind the curtain there is Taylor, Taylor-ish. How you doing, Taylor?
Hey, pretty good.
We normally have Lily Starr with us, but she's feeling sick this week. She thinks it's the flu. I told her to take some echinacea, cut that suffering short. So hopefully she'll be back next week. We hope you get better real soon, Lily. We do have good backup for you, though. Taylor is proven, tried, and I like what she does. So thanks for being with us again, Taylor.
Yeah, no problem.
So this is the first day of June, folks. It is 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We are here every Thursday at this time, unless it's, Thanksgiving. I won't be here that day. Sorry. So we like to talk to you about stocks you're interested in. That's why we're here. Now, hopefully, this is my hope. You're doing some due diligence and you're going through charts. You find a chart that you say, God, you can see this thing's going to break out. What's the catalyst? That's my kind of gold hunt. I just want to find the reason that chart's going to move. Most of us want to see some light at the end of the tunnel on the stocks we're holding. I'll gladly look at the chart. Lily will look at, or I'll look at the facts. Lily will look at the chart. But if you haven't seen anything, and I'm sure you've been looking, we're not going to see anything either. We're not going to blow smoke up your skirt. We're going to be honest with you. So let's jump on into this. Let me get my comments up here. See who is here. Hello, Velmore. Of course you're here. She is always one of the first in the line. Used to be the first. She's still one of the first in the line every day. Chris Vaughn, good to see you. DNA, we'll put that on the list. So first thing I want to share with you folks is something, sorry about that. I want to share this with you. That right there. Now, can you see that, folks? Lily? I'm going to presume you can. I didn't get any feedback there. Let me make sure I'm still in line here. Yeah, I'm still here.
Yep, we're good.
Okay, sorry. What I wanted to show you, I'm not showing off. I just want to show you something here, folks. This is the video I did yesterday. These are the 3 stocks we talked about yesterday. This is what they did today. Now, this was at noon. I'm not sure what they did. I did glance in and out a couple times, and they were all pretty much about the same. We had a 10% gainer, a 13% gainer, and a 67% gainer. Now, I'm not showing you this to say, hey, watch my videos, though that would be great. I don't mind that at all. I'm showing this to you because the way I found these stocks is just looking at the charts. I knew nothing about these stocks, not their fundamentals, what business they were in. I wasn't looking for them. I was only looking for charts that had a breakout potential. And would you believe that virtually all of them had no current catalysts? There was no news. There was no filings. But still, they moved today, the very next day after I found them. Knowing nothing about them, finding hardly any catalysts. Now, they got good things going on. I'm not just picking a hot chart. They got to have something happening. They had momentum building up. That's all they had. One company here, GQSI, with 67% gains, had news in February and the beginning of May. That was the last information we had from them. And today it starts taking off. Actually, it was yesterday. That's what caught my attention. She broke out. And that's what I want to share with you, folks. You have to know something about charting to see potential. I agree with that. But there are some things you can recognize not knowing hardly anything. The atypical breakout. If you watch my videos, you know what I'm talking about. This is an example of it. You have a high bubble in one corner and it's rolling down to a low bubble in the other corner. Bouncing off of that low bubble, the 200 starts to plane out. So one, you got your low bubble, change of direction, crossing all the SMAs, coming up underneath a 200 that has planed out. It cannot still be like that. What you'll get here is a poke. You'll get a poke. Let me show you another one here. You'll get what I like to call the incentive. It shows what the chart wants to do. I look for this one poke, and then I look for it to come back down, losing no strength, just coming back down to where it was and then going back up. Let me show you another one. These are very easy to identify. That's ELEK. I just found these about 10 minutes ago, real quick. I was just flying through my charts. I use my arrow button and I set up my charts. I got a video on that so you can scan quickly too. I found these in just 10 minutes. This one is getting ready to come up. And the last one I want to show you is that one there. Now, look, it's still a little steep. Think of it as a hill with ice on it. If the price gets up on top, it's going to slide downhill and probably fall back underneath. It's better to hit its head and crack the ice a couple times, coming down to just the next SMA and bouncing back up. This is testing. There's this first, and right now it's starting to plan out. This is your atypical breakout chart, folks. Anybody can find these. Go watch my TOS setup video. It'll show you how I set up all these easy searches because I like to go through, believe it or not, my charts when I'm watching movies. I'll put in a movie and set this up and I would just scan through charts and just eyeballing. I can see if a lot of volume is over here in the corner or if she's set up under the 200 or if something's been ripping for 2 weeks. You need to see it. Just because it's already flying doesn't mean it's gonna die. You know, if it's been going for 2 weeks, why has it been going for 2 weeks? Maybe you can get 3 weeks out of it. So I do this while I'm watching movies, but I also do it during the day because I've always got to have something to share with you. All right, let's jump on into the first stock we have to look at here. And of course, this comes from Belmore. Belmore wanted to look at lease. As a matter of fact, I did have one before Belmore. It came on Twitter or Google, but we got time for both. So we're going to jump into lease first. Now, Belmore and I were actually talking about this earlier today. She was interested in me finding out the real float, which can be real difficult sometimes. And they did not list it in the filing. And I'm sure she looked there, which is why it's difficult. All the sites I went to, nobody wanted to tell me the float, but they wanted to tell me the percentage of the OS was the float. And they said it was like 17.44% of the outstanding. So when you did the calculations, it turned out to be about 9 million out of the 131 million, which wasn't a bad float at all. Well, there was other things I was unaware of. The company had done a reverse merger not too long ago with Strategic Asset Leasing, and they're changing their name to A New Medical. That just hasn't come through yet. They say it's been over a year, and God knows when they put this up. And with this came a lot of IP, intellectual property. They're not making any money yet, but they've got a hold of some very important technology that's got patents on it. So what was the relative volume around this company today? Well, she's getting attention, isn't she? That's 3 times her normal volume from 875,000 to 2.4 million. Share structure. All right. Yeah, I could see why you'd ask about that. I always say if you can't figure out what the float is, just subtract the restricted shares from the outstanding. Well, that wouldn't work here, would it? This is always a guessing game, honestly, working with these numbers. They do have a number down here, 9.9. That was back in 2015. So who'd trust that? So I just went to Google and I put in the company's name, ticker, float. Then I put in the word outstanding as well. That sometimes helps because the 2 words go hand in hand. And there was only one that had a number. It said 9 million. All the rest said 7 point something percentage. But it does seem to be 9 million, which is a real nice float. Financials for the company, as I said, they don't have anything coming in yet, but they've got a lot going on. Let's see if there was any disclosures here. Nothing since 2022, September. Now, I was looking at the news. This is going back to October of 2022. This is what drew my attention to the name change. It's like, well, who the heck is A New Medical? They're not even using the company's name except for back here. A New Medical acquires 5 drug approvals with manufacturer in Europe. The company acquires worldwide license to treat neurodegenerative diseases using longevity protein and gene therapy programs. And the company receives notification of issuance of Alzheimer gene therapy patient and claims by the European Patient Organization. I haven't done any diving into these folks. I just see they're on the ball. This one was October. This one was January, December. This one's December. Now, it's been quiet. The most recent piece of news came out in March. Gene therapy candidate for I'm not saying that, demonstrate bioactivities and murine model of the disease over my head. But it sounds good, right? You get a good feeling from it. You want to know more about it, dive on in. The company is real cheap right now, 0008, but they had a good day. They're up 45%. That's great down there in the triple zeros. That's geez, that's got to be almost 0004. I guess she was at, which is really good. No, it'd be 0006. I think it would be. So that's not a bad move. Pink current, and she's got both those green ticks. I know. A lot of you don't even pay attention to these, but these two particularly have a lot more information behind them than just those two words. You need to find these because if you get stuck, if you play a day trade, I know this never happens to you, but if you have a day trade and end up getting stuck in it because something happens and end up holding a bag, you're going to want to know this thing has a chance of getting out of the darkness. And if you're playing with stocks that do not have verified information and aren't up on the QB, at least having their financials audited, could be a long time, if ever again. Some of these little tiny stocks without verified information fall and don't get back up. So be careful what you're playing, even in a day trade. I know you intend to get out. We all do. All right. That's everything we got on lease. Let's take a look at that chart.
Okay, you got to add the screen share to the StreamYard.
I can do that. Boink.
There we go. Okay, so I'm looking, let's see, I was first looking at the 4 hour. Here we go. Here's the 4 hour. I've got the Heikinashi candles on.
Yay.
So I was looking at the daily because I wanted to see what the volume was. You said it was about 2.4 million. That's what it said here too. So if you go here, this is about 2.4 million volume, which is pretty good because you look at these volume bars at the bottom here, and you can see these huge spikes. You know, there was one around October, and then there was one last April. And look how high this went last October, April, right around here. So that's like 0.8 of a cent, whereas right now we're at like 0.08 of a cent. Okay, so that's a huge difference. It doesn't look that huge of a difference if you're used to looking at normal larger cap stocks and things like that, but that is an enormous difference. 0.08 of a cent versus 0.8 of a cent is an enormous difference, tenfold. So that's just insane to me. So this looks like it might be heading towards that. Now, if you look on the daily chart, this is the 200 MA right here, and I'm sure this is kind of averaged out because this is a little bit, you know, it doesn't, TradingView isn't showing all of the things in between. Like it'll just go from not 0.0009 to 0.0008. It doesn't show the in between. So this line isn't really, it's real smooth. You see that? So it's kind of just an average.
No 008.
Right. But if you go down here, it does show that. So if you see here, it does show those past the hundredths of a cent. Anyway, so it looks like on the daily chart, we came up here to the 200 MA and came right back down. But that is 0.08 of a cent. It's now at 0.07 of a cent. I'm sure there's some in between there, but I think if we can get over this on the daily, and you can see it even more on the 4 hour, it is coming up here. If we can get over that, I think we can come up to this 0.0015 area, which is where it has wicked up several different times. So you can see here, 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 and here. So it's been through this consolidation period for several months here, about 3 months worth, kind of came back down. And then you have these two like hammer candles coming back up. And now we're kind of in this.
Actually, that's another perfect example of an atypical breakout chart.
It is. Yeah, for sure. It looks
good. I'm looking at it going, that looks familiar.
It does. Yeah, that was a perfect one. Yeah, that was good to illustrate what you were talking about a little bit ago. Yeah, I like this. It looks good. I wish they had more information. If you click these on TradingView, there's really no information. They have like, you know, earnings. There's no earnings to be announced. There's no information. I was trying to go through, even if you go to their financial page, there's really not that much information that I can find here.
that's as Rodney Dangerfield would say, you get no respect, no respect. This is OTC pink board.
Yeah.
People don't talk about pinks. You could have a major deal happen on an OTC stock and it wouldn't make Bloomberg. It just wouldn't, because it's not a stock that investors trade. True investors don't come down to the OTC. It's a whole different market down here. And it sometimes can be very good to us, and other times it can be very bad. And it's just us. I got to tell you, the one thing I like about trading the OTC, you can trust the SMA activity better. You don't get as many bull traps and bear traps as you do up on the major exchange. You don't have as much AI playing against you down on the OTC as you do on the major exchanges, honestly.
Yeah. If you go to the regular candles, though, even this last one on the daily chart today, it had a significant, I mean, we have actually a solid candle versus some of these that are just kind of sitting here. Kind of similar to what we saw back here in October. I mean, this was a huge move. It doesn't, I mean, obviously comparatively it looks bigger, but I mean, from 0.0007 all the way up to 0.003, lost an entire zero. That is a huge move in one day.
1,000%.
Yeah,
You lose zero.
it's insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
That's why most of us are on the OTC, because you don't see 1,000% move
No,
on
you
major
don't.
exchanges. Yeah. Tesla is not going up 10 times in one day. Ain't happening.
But yeah, I like this for that atypical
breakout chart. Yep.
Breakout.
It's
Atypical
ready for
breakout.
something. And all it needs is a little catalyst. It doesn't need even momentum that's already on the table can carry this right now. Now, I see we had one of those already. Looking at the chart a little ways back, she had a false breakout. Looked like she was good. But yeah, see, no, that's when she fell.
You talking about this?
No, I like the chart. I would put this on my watch list for tomorrow. Absolutely.
I do too.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the next one. Good find there. You can always count on Velmore to bring us a hottie. I like that. All right, let's jump into the one I was given before the day this started, BKKT. Let's see what this company does. We're not going to get any information there.
BKKT, okay.
BKKT. When you can't find any information, just jump to the news and going down to the bottom. Bakkt builds technology that connects commerce. Our vision is to connect the digital economy by offering one platform for cryptocurrency, loyalty, and commerce. Got a lot of that going on right now. There's a lot of crypto buying. There's a lot of everyday purchases and buying. And then you want people to come back and buy again. Loyalty, where they're trying to get all of that into one, so that your everyday shopping for pet goods and gasoline and toothpaste can be bought with crypto, and you get loyalty points for spending at this place the same way over and over. I've seen a lot of companies doing this lately. So that's what they do. Let's see what their volume was today. Fell just a wee bit from 857,000 down to 719,000. She is on the New York Stock Exchange. $1.45, had a little bit of gain today with less volume. She did go up. That's a good sign. Share structure. Well, the only thing we know is she's got about 90 million outstanding. That's about the only number I truly trust on this page. The rest of them, so we know the float's under 90 million. A little more research, you might get lucky and find it. I see they've got a warrant down here. That's also going to be a penny stock. I don't know what it's doing right now. Financials, well, they're doing good. I mean, over the last 3 years, it's increased steadily and nicely. Looking at the quarterlies, 12, 13. It's regular. It's had some strong ones and some even ones, but they're doing okay. I don't see anything wrong going on there at all. And disclosures. We got a Form 4 insider purchase or sale. This was a sale by the one of their directors. He sold 54,000 shares at about $1.50. I wouldn't freak out over it. The guy's got 6 million shares and he only sold 54,000. So he got about $70,000 out of that. That sounds like a lot of money, but we don't know what lifestyle he's living. You may just have to pay the rent and the car bill. Times are tough for everybody, even the rich. What else we got over here? 19th. There's their quarterly report that just came out 3 weeks ago. Going to get a lot of information there. And last one we'll look at here is the 8K. I love 8Ks. They're a jack in the box. You never know what's in them. Oh, right. I did want to talk to you about this. It's not a bad report, but I learned something by reading this that I didn't see in the news. They tell us here their quarterly net revenues were 13 million, increase of 4%. Not big, but hey, it's better than going down. They tell us their operating expenses went down. That's good. They included a $4.3 million restructuring expense. Wow, I hope they saved more than $4.3 million. Then I see here that they had an acquisition of Apex Crypto, which just closed on April Fools of this year. 5.8 million crypto-enabled accounts are moving over to the Backed platform. That's a lot of accounts. 5.8 million crypto accounts. Now, I had to read this twice, and then I got a better feel for it down here. You see up here, they used the word million. 13 million. And that is what they did, 13 million. We just got done seeing that over here on the financials, I believe. Quarterly, right there, 13 million. So when you're looking at this, you come down here, you see 1,874 million. Outlook, full year 2023 gross revenue between this and that. Well, that's billions. That's a heck of a way to write a billion. That is $1.8 billion. And I'm thinking, whoa, what an acquisition. No, you've got to read it clearly. This is how much they'll pull in. Then they got to pay out. They've got crypto costs and execution, clearing and brokerage fees of these amounts. Do the math, the balance, $6 to $8 million. So they anticipate $6 to $8 million doing their own math in revenues off of this Apex Crypto, which will be added on to whatever it is they're doing and growing. But I'm just clearing that up because I get the feeling they wrote that to throw some people off. It's very easy to do with these things. Was there anything else we had to look at over here? Any disclosures that we didn't cover? No. And we did cover the volume. So we just need to see that chart. She did go up today a little bit on less volume. What's she looking like there, Taylor?
Looks all right. You want to flip on the...
Oh, I got to flip you?
Yeah.
All right. I didn't have to flip. I didn't have to flip.
Yeah. I'll let you add
Right,
that.
because
So,
you came in on an invite. That's
right.
right. Right.
Okay, so I'm looking at the 4-hour here. There's this kind of interesting wedge here. It looks like it's tightening up, which
Yeah.
means I think we're going to have a breakout soon. It might be either way. I've seen this go either way. We
Right.
could go up to the upside, or we could break down here. Now, it tried a couple of different times to break out of this. And of course, this isn't perfect. It tried a couple times to break out of this, but you can see it came right back up to retest and boom, right back into it, because it's kind of trying to hug this 200 MA here. Now we are above it. We did close above that. We closed above all of the EMAs and the 200 MA here. This is the 4-hour again. So, and the last couple of days, it looks like, we've really been using this, like this is the 21 or the 50, sorry, kind of using this as a support and almost perfectly just today. And it came right back up into this wedge. And we've been testing this a few times, and I really like this for a breakout. Either way, though, I'm not sure which way it's going to go, but I do like that it's tightening up quite a bit in this last breakout here. I mean, we have a big move here, a big move here, big move, and now you can see the moves are getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and now we're really tightening up. So there's going to be a breakout of one way or the other, and it kind of happened, huh?
At that point, I don't know what oscillators you're using down at the bottom, but that's when I lean on my oscillators to see.
There's several different ones that I've been kind of testing out. This is the MACD. There's a couple different ones. They have different names. Anyway, so back here, this was the end of last year. We kind of had this descending channel, and it was only a matter of time that it was going to break out, and sure enough, it did. Hardcore, and there wasn't even around any kind of earnings reports. So we had a huge spike in volume and then a huge drop back down, another huge leg down, and then as you can see, we've just been tightening up those moves. We have not been moving as much. It's just getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller the way that these moves are. So I do feel like it's going to break out again, something like this, maybe not quite this strong, maybe more like this kind of move, but I do feel like it's going to break out one way or the other. Right now, I don't know. If I were to guess, I would say towards the upside, but obviously I can't predict the future. But
Right.
that's what I think. This is more of a typical breakout scenario, or setting up to be a breakout scenario, more of a quote unquote typical one, not your atypical like we were talking about before.
Right.
But that's what I'm seeing here. Hope that helps.
Sounds good. All right. Let's see. Goodness gracious. All right. I'm going to need your help, Taylor, because I don't have my other screen on right now. Was it someone wants me to look at DNA, I believe is the ticker?
Right.
Ginkgo Bioworks. All right. Ginkgo Bioworks. I happen to be on the news page right now, highlighted a few things. So before I leave here, let's take a look. Ginkgo Bioworks. They've had news, a lot of it. This is all in May. I mean, all of that news in May. You got to love a company that gives you a lot of communication. I'd rather have too much than not enough. We see here that Ginkgo Bioworks partners with Boehringer Ingelheim to develop breakthrough therapies for hard-to-treat diseases. Octane Bio and Ginkgo Bioworks announced partnership to produce natural colors. I have no idea what these products are. Ginkgo Bioworks and Centrient expands partnership for APIs. Ginkgo Bioworks and Centrient Pharmaceuticals announces expansion of partnership following success of initial project to bring sustainable innovation to the generic API space. Sounds like there's a lot going on here, and this is just this month. I mean, I'm sure there's more news. There's a little more button here, even if it doesn't show up here. Don't consider this the end of everything. Go hit Google up if you really want any more information. But as I always say, go to the most recent financial. They're going to have all the history laid out for you. And it's not as tough to read as you think. If you keep avoiding it, it's going to remain tough. The more you look at them, the easier you'll see that they are. Yeah, and this is just going back to April. So they have lots of things going on here. So they've got lots of catalyst, momentum, if you will, building up here. The momentum is building up. We're going from 20 million to almost 23 million shares today. Share structure on DNA. Well, we haven't dived into it to see, but that's a lot of shares outstanding. 1.5 million on the New York Stock Exchange. I have seen stocks that have billions of shares on the major exchange, but to be honest, they are huge companies like Exxon or maybe even Tesla. When they keep doing these forward splits, if they had 100 million shares and do a 5-for-1 forward split, they now have 500 million shares. Then they have to do another 5-to-1 split. Now they have 2.5 billion shares. Every time they do a forward split, they get more shares. Exxon, I mean, you wouldn't believe it. I think it's like 32 billion or 64 billion shares. But a small company on the major exchange, I wonder why they have so many shares. Disclosures for the company. Oh, we got stuff that came out today. All right, you got my interest. Oh, I hate these. I don't understand all filings. I'll tell you that much. But these are normally stating facts. Facts as they are, facts you may want to know. And I don't understand them all, so I'm not going to even act like I do. We got a few of these here, and even on the 31st. Normally, these are when parties are coming together. From what I've noticed, whenever there's two groups coming together, each one has to declare what they have, what they're worth, stuff like that. Not financials. It's something else. And you normally find one for each party. That's what that looks like. Whoa, I don't think there was anything else we had to look at, was there? Financials? I don't think we looked at their financials. I remember that. Those are good. No, we did not look at these. Wow. Not only is their revenues increasing, but they are increasing their gross profit by a large margin. It is getting very strong. You got $273 million. There's 3 zeros you got to put behind any of these numbers here. Quarterly, did they bring out their, yep, we got their first quarter here. It fell compared to the last quarter, but I'm not going to complain. I mean, gee whiz, 80 million they did in the last quarter. It was 98 million before that, but the one before that was 66. So it just averaged out. So everything is just, it's all balancing out here. So DNA looks like she's got a lot of momentum building up. They've got a lot of things going on. They're making money. They can pay the bills. Not crazy about that share structure. I'd like to see what the float is. That would be something I would go look up. Matter of fact, while Taylor looks at the chart, I'm going to see what I can find out on that float, because that's a lot of shares in a major exchange stock. I'm flipping, yeah, I'm flipping.
No, this is a great example. I just want to show you what happened with this stock. I mean, aside from the financials, this is what happened here. This is exactly what I was talking about on the last one. So this is around the beginning of May. It seems to have found a bottom around here, around like 112, 114. Comes up. We have at the top of this wedge, down, up. See, is smaller and smaller and smaller. Kind of broke out, retested, and then look what happened. Broke right out right at the end of that. And now we have kind of this bull flag, kind of. So I expect this to either continue in this range, like between 179 and maybe right here, like 151. So, and that's a pretty big range, obviously. So it could continue just here, the support and resistance here, like it has been. And then it's either going to break out one way or the other, kind of like the wedge pattern. But right now it looks kind of like it's bull flagging. It's kind of, maybe it's going to consolidate a little more. So it could, let me pop on the indicators a little bit. So we are above all of the EMAs here on the 4 hour. So it does look really good for some more bullish movement. Trying to see if there's, it does look really good. This was a perfect breakout right here. This was absolutely perfect. And you can see all of the EMAs kind of converged right here as it was tightening up. So that was actually a really perfect breakout. Yeah, I like that.
Cross right there when the 50
tons of them.
It, boom, she exploded. And would you believe this has a float of 1.2 billion?
Oh, really?
It's moving a lot of shares to get that growth.
Yeah.
I like that. That's kind of the way QGSI was yesterday. I didn't catch it before the breakout. It had one good solid breakout, and it looked like it wanted to keep going. We were looking for that continuation. And boy, did we get it today, 67%. And that's what this chart looks like. DNA looks like she has intent to climb more. It's not to say she can't fall, but that's looking good.
It is. Yep, absolutely. And since this is a 4 hour, this is just from the month of May on. So this is about a month's worth, just all these moves right here. And I mean, that was a really great, beautiful breakout. I love that. Looks really good.
So I guess I got to pop you on. I got to pop you off too.
Yep.
Or else I'll just keep talking until you do. Sorry. All right. Again, I'm blind, but I did see our next ticker was IDVV. I believe I snatched that up correctly. Can't remember who asked me for it, but I'll be glad to look at it for you. International Endeavors Corps. I think I'm familiar with this from a long time ago. Let me see. She finished at 0014. Not a bad buy price. You buy at 001. She moves a smidge to 002. You've doubled your money. I mean, it's just that easy to make 100% in sub-penny stocks, but you got to pick the right direction. It's like the roulette wheel. It's just that easy. Pick black or red. It's easy. She's on the pink. She's current. Hey, she's got those 2 green ticks. So this looks good. Let's see. Let's find out what this company does. We get a description. We never know if these are accurate. International Endeavors is engaged in locating, acquiring, and partnering with established companies and brands and technologies with the focus on solar, crypto, artificial intelligence. Come on now. Anything and everything. We'll work with you if you're making money. Let me see. The company has operations in Nevada, Southern California, Baja, Mexico, Latin America. So they're obviously doing something. What was their relative volume today? What am I reading there? Is that a drop or an increase? No, that's a big drop. Wow. It just didn't look right to me. That's a huge drop in volume from 8 million down to 1.3 million. And she went up. She went up 8%. Yeah, that's what we like to see. The investors that traded today saw value. You didn't need a lot of volume. You just needed investors who were convinced there's something going on here. Let's see, share structure. This one, 908 million, maybe 311, between 200 and 300, I would guess, but we don't know for sure. Financials for IDVV. Something's happened between 2021 and 2022. Went from 18,000 to 1.5 million. That's a huge jump in revenue. Not going to try to calculate that. So where is the money? It all came in one pop, right there, one quarter. Then they fell down to $100,000 and then zero. And we got nothing. Oh, I hate dashes. Dashes, that's like they're not filing. I don't see any problems over here, though. Just out of curiosity, let's take a quick look at the balance sheet. Look at that. Just enough to keep the bank account open. $1,000. Jeez. Assets, $1.4 million. It's not much. 1.1 million in liabilities. So they got 300,000 in assets somewhere. Maybe a pole barn or something. I'm just teasing. I don't know enough about the company to pick on it yet. Disclosures. Nothing since 2017. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but if you don't see any activities, which are what SEC filings are, these are activities that companies are involved in. You don't see any activity, you got to wonder what they're doing. But they are making money, so we're not going to pick on them too much. Let's take a look at that news. This is where it's got to be happening. What do we got here? This is 2023's news. Always make sure you look at the date. I do waste a lot of time doing DD on old news. So yeah, this is all current going back to March. AI shows no signs of slowing down as IDVV announces first agreement in AI sector. I got to say this, folks, and I say this as a warning. When we were getting into the metaverse, every company was turning to the metaverse. When NFTs came out, everybody started doing NFTs. I mean, it was just a slew of them. Now it's AI. Now, I'll grant you, AI has a lot more value to it than NFTs or the metaverse. There may be some, well, I'm not even going to say more practicality. I think AI is going to be hands down big, huge, world changing, even scary, honestly. So I think everybody and their uncle is going to claim to be involved with AI. I would make sure that they are involving themselves with other companies because AI isn't something you do alone. I mean, unless you've really got some intellectual property with AI, you're not doing it alone. And you just can't plug into Chat GPT and say, hey, we're involved in AI. No, look for the companies that have the IP or aligning with companies that do have IP in it. Those are true AI companies. Everybody's going to be getting into AI just so they can keep up with the competition. So let's see here. IDVV closes acquisition of company in artificial intelligence sector. Sweet. That's what we're looking for. And I'd want to read that. What else we got here? Launches into AI industry with opportunity to shape two burgeoning multi-billion-dollar markets. That's going to be another good one to read. Announces artificial intelligence client in medical sector. We're going to see huge advances in the medical sector. It's going to be a bit scary, but it is going to really be exciting. Enters health and wellness industry. Announces corporate update on acquisitions and AI. Look, folks, there's a ton of due diligence right there. And they've made a deal with a company in AI. So if you're looking for AI companies, and I think they're definitely worth investing in, absolutely. Find AI companies, not just companies working with AI. Find AI companies, and you could be latching on to dark horses. Dark horses. Unlike the metaverse, unlike NFTs, AI, you've got room for, well, I don't know. Can we have population control on artificial intelligences? I mean, I think there could be millions of them out there at some point in time. I don't want to go there. I'm thinking some horrible thoughts here. Okay, that was everything we got, I believe. Did I miss anything, Lily?
I'm not Lily, but I'm not sure.
Hard, and I can't see you, so you know.
It's okay.
I did that with one of my ex-wives, and it took me a long time to live it down. Long time. Okay. In either case, let's take a look at that chart for IDVV. She lost 7 million, about oh my God, that's like 80% of your volume, and she still went up 8% today. Oh, I gotta pop you. Gee,
Yeah.
you gotta remind me like
Sorry.
a good woman does. Men need
Wait.
reminding.
Oh yeah, don't remove me.
See, I'm all
Okay,
confused here. All right, there you go. The chart.
okay. So this is the 4-hour going back almost 2 years. I mean, basically you can just see it. It's just there it is. All right.
Yeah,
But my
downtrend.
God, this is such a big move. We have like 5 cents all the way down to 6/100ths of a cent. That is
How,
insanity.
how many
Um,
zeros? We always say double zero, triple zero.
0006. Sorry about that.
Whoa, whoa. That is a fall. See, I didn't even recognize that 600ths. I didn't know what you were
Oh,
saying.
sorry about that. 0006. So we went from 5 cents to 0006.
Yeah,
That's
that's like
it,
oh my God, what is that?
it's like the
50,000 300. Oh, that's mega drop. That's also mega
yeah.
growth. That's also mega potential.
It is mega potential. So it kind of looks like it has picked up a little bit. Now, these are the Heikenhashi candles, but we do see like it's kind of coming back. And we have, the EMA crossover, like we were saying before. There's one, and then there's one right here. Or both of those are on the 4-hour. But I would like to see it come back and at least test this 200, which it did try to do a couple months ago, 1 to 2 months ago. Even back here in February, it was wicking up here and here and here. And see, this is another good example here. See how the price action is kind of tightening up, tightening up, tightening up, and then we had a breakdown to the downside. So this is, it could break down either way, either break up or down. So this price action was tightening up, came all the way down to here. It looks like it has picked up a little bit of support here. So I kind of have this line. I'm not saying that it can fall below this line. It's going to come all the way down to 0006 necessarily, but it's just something to watch. So I kind of see it picking up support here. You have these EMA crossovers. I'd like to see it come back up to 002. That would be ideal. But you have to think about this though. 0014 to 002 is almost a 50% move. That's huge. So
Right.
yeah, and
it's
even though it does look
it's the smallest move on the chart. There is
right.
nothing in between 000 and the next 000.
Yeah.
There's no space.
Right. So I mean, huge move percentage wise, but that's actually, I mean, that could absolutely happen. It has been happening over and over back here, and that wasn't that long ago. It was just a few months ago. So, take what John was saying about the financials and how it's doing and all that, and make a decision if you want to get in this and see if it can come up here first. If it does, then it will probably test and come back down, but it could. I mean, it
And the way
could
I
run.
see it, to me, the 200 is still a little steep. It's still slippery to jump on. But
Yeah.
as low as that price is, as the price rises, it's going to start pushing that 200 up a wee bit. It only needs to go up a wee bit more to plane out. Once it has a plane on it, it gets weak. It gets very easy for the price to jump on. And by the time the price reaches the 200, it could be opportunistic. It could be the right time. And, I'm going to go look at IDVV. That is an excellent price. And this company did a deal with an AI company.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm looking for. So, hey, I appreciate you bringing that ticker to us today. Chart's looking sweet, has a chance. And for being a 000, it looks like she's getting activity. And there's not a lot of 000 stocks that get activity.
Right now it's at 0014. The all-time low that I found was 0006. So it kind of came pretty close. It came to 0007 right here. This was last month, less than a month ago. It's kind of creeping up now. So it's at 0014.
And don't
currently.
be afraid to use those long charts, folks. I know we like to use the 1 minute and the 5 minute because we're jumping in and jumping out. We want to see what's happening. But before you do that, take a look at the long chart. What you see up close may not look pretty, but if you jump back and it's like, oh, that's perfect. That's where it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Calm down then. It's reassuring to get a big picture. Always is.
Yep.
Okay, let's jump into the next one. I remember to poke you off, poke you on, and make everybody blind. My bad. All right, we have a request for a very well-known stock. I think everybody's familiar with XELA. I don't know how familiar, but if you watch your charts, your scans, this one is up at the top for having a lot of volume often. I mean, there was a few months there, it was always at the top in the morning. I'm not saying she was making gains. I'm just saying she was getting a lot of activity. Speaking of activity, I'm not sure, relatively speaking, over the last 30 days, it says she's only done 4.3 million shares a day. Sounds kind of low to me. Although, and this is on the NASDAQ, so I can't go putting any blame on the OTC. She's at $5.23, just leaving the Pennyville, dollar 1.5% gains. So she lost 75% of her volume today, and she too went up. I'm liking it, but I like volume. But if the volume is falling on the market, we can't let that be the excuse for pulling prices down. The people who are trading should see the value in the stocks and keep these things going up. What does Xella do? I can't remember here. Leader, leveraging global footprint and proprietary technology, blah, 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 with what? Xella's software and services include multi-industry solutions, human capital, cloud enabled. Okay, they got a lot of words here. They work with digital products, software. They work with a lot of big Fortune 100 companies, 4,000 customers. So they're doing a lot here. Let's see what their share structure is. All right, that's going to be a decent one. Without even knowing what the float is, I know it's a small float. It's under 6.3 million, so that's good. Financials. Yeah, wow. That's what you want to see on the NASDAQ. You want to see billions. You don't want to see millions. This has got 1 billion at the end of 2022, and they got to keep 1/5 of that, 200,000. Looking on the quarterly, had a strong last quarter. They are current on their most recent one. It kicked up. Yeah, it's a strong one, 273. Disclosures. Anything we need to be aware of? We got no new disclosures here. Oh, I went too far down. My bad. It happens. My finger's getting a little cramped. Let's see here. Other events. I normally just look here. If it says default or notice, that's from the NASDAQ. You want to read that one. Material change. You want to read that one. It could be a split, a merger, something like that. Other events can be anything. Let me see. A resignation from a board of directors. I mean, hey, personnel is important. Don't let me play that down. Oh, it's just a board member changing. Look, every single company is run by a number of people that can wreck it. That's the bottom line. They can make it a success or they can wreck it. So you want to make sure you have good men at the wheel. You don't want to trust a drunk driving your investment. So do more due diligence on the management, especially for your long holds. Look, for your day trades, I don't care if the management just got busted for drunk driving last night. Honestly, it's not going to make any difference in my momentum play right now. But if you're tying your money up for months or years, you better make sure you're putting it in the hands of a person you would face to face. Fair enough. 8Ks. We like 8Ks. That was that board of resignation. Second one there, changing officers. You got a lot of inside changing going on here. Amendments to articles of the corporation. There's a lot of changes going on here with the company and with the business. So if you're interested, I would start doing some due diligence. All these filings came out after their last quarterly report. So if there's anything important there, you're probably going to have to dive into that more. Let me see. I believe that was everything except the news. Let's see what we got over here for news. All right, this is all current. That's a good step. Technologies announces reverse split. Oh, I just seen it right there. Let's see. Affects 1 in 200 reverse split, which has already happened, which explains why they've got a low float, right? Is this, I'm going to get confused. Is this the one with 6 million? Yeah. So that's how she got her low float. And, you can always check right down. Look at that. They didn't give it to me. Down here, it should have dividends and splits, and you should be able to click it. But being that this is on the NASDAQ and we're on the OTC markets, they're probably not going to give that to us. What else we got going on here for catalysts? Places in Gartner Magic Quadrant for finance and accounting business processing. I'll bet you this quadrant is some sort of quantum computing or AI computing, a little more DD. And the most recent one just came out a week ago, named leader in Nelson Halley's healthcare payer operational transformation NEAT vendor evaluation. Wow, do they got to put all that in one plaque? Goodness gracious. I'm not real sure what that's about either, but again, it sounds good, right? And that just came out. So they've got things they're involved with here. I would look into that. Things are looking good. They had less volume, an increase. They are outside of the penny stock range, so you better look at it right now if you like penny stocks, because this may take off. You want to look at that chart for us, hon?
Yeah, you got to pop me on.
Oh,
I was going to add to what you were saying about the splits. So there was one in 2021, a reverse split for 1 to 3. And then there was one in 2022, 1 to 20. And then just recently, 1 to 200 split. So that is why it's probably this low float you're talking about.
Imagine how big it was when it started.
Oh, yeah. Its inception was, I think, 2015 or 2017, 2016-ish. So, yeah, I mean, look at it wasn't that expensive, obviously, but I mean, it has just come down. This is a huge picture. Y'all were talking about the big picture versus, looking at the 1 minute chart, but you can see this daily chart just from several years. So from 2016 on, just kind of come down, but it has been diluting these shares. Not diluting, but you know what I mean, splitting these up.
Right.
So, yeah. Okay, so let's go in. I was looking at the 4 hour and the 1 hour.
Now there's a low float and it's finally at a low price.
Yeah.
Hey, it's finally gotten attractive.
Now it looks like it looks a little better here. This is the 1 hour. So I like this a little better to see what's going on. And these are regular candles, so you can actually kind of see what's been happening. We had a huge spike in volume about a couple weeks ago, 2 to 3 weeks ago. And it just skyrocketed from around the $2.93 mark all the way up to $8 within just a day or two, like the 16th of May, the 17th of May.
Oh my God.
Skyrocketed. That is huge. And that was right after
what was the date on that?
That was it started around the 16th of May.
Okay.
And then the 16th of May it came up to around here like $7-8. And then the 17th it kind of continued and jumped all the way up to $8.85.
That was the news when they got with that Magic Quadrant, with the one I think is some sort of AI company. So everybody was excited to see their company getting into AI. Wow, what a jump.
Yeah. And then it kind of just tapered off. And then we had this, we crossed this 200 and then it just kind of, leveled off. The volume is kind of picking up a tiny bit, but not enough. It is coming up a little bit actually. Here it's kind of trying to find a little bit of support around this 200 on the 1 hour. I kind of like that. But
yeah,
we're gonna have to get a lot
pretty
more.
Good. You know, like if you were to throw a Fibonacci on that big surge, she's way above her 50%, settling out. You get a big run, it settles some. It looks like a good, and it settled on top of the 200.
It
That's
did.
a pretty good settle point.
For sure. And that's on the 1 hour. So that does look pretty good. If you go probably, let's see so this is the 5 minute, which is probably what maybe y'all would be trading more on.
Oh, yeah.
It's still right around there. We have a lot of touch points here. So this looks really good for support on the 5 minute even. So it's kind of after that last huge split, I think, it's kind of trying to settle down now a little bit because that's a huge split, 1 to 200. So
that's pretty much average down here. Actually,
is it
1 in 3,000, 1 in 30,000?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But before it had like last year's was 120 and then before that 1 3. So
they keep getting bigger.
It's bigger and bigger. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's the history of the splits there.
Well, I think we're done with that. I don't think there's room for any more splits.
I don't think so.
And here's the problem is I don't believe, and I haven't done any history, but I'll bet if we look, they never uplisted from any of those splits. They never, it didn't help anybody. It was just them getting more shares back into the authorized share count to do whatever it was they needed to do. I think probably these sort of splits are not in the shareholders' best interest. That's what I'm saying. And if you look at that chart over the last 3 years, I think the shareholders agree.
Yeah.
You know, I think we were lucky to have a pop like that and for her to settle. But now with this AI coming, I think it's going to be a different game for all these stocks. As soon as they start plugging in with some AI company, it's going to give them a whole different value table for projections of what they can do.
Yeah. So this was did you see this revenue to 273.6 million? That was on the 11th. They came out with that.
We overlooked that. Maybe
Okay.
we saw it. I can't remember. It's pretty good revenues though. Their revenues were strong. They were growing.
Yeah, this is the latest news, and it's talking about just the 1 to 200 reverse split. So that came right after. I guess this was probably what was that, a Friday or Thursday? So it came right after that. That was on the following Monday that it did the reverse split. So that plus the split is probably what drove this to jump that much.
Wow.
Yeah.
You don't normally see a reverse split have a party afterwards and rise like that.
Yeah, it's like a 200% move almost.
All right, we've only got a few minutes left here. I'm going to jump into one more stock. We're just going to touch on to this because we did cover this a while ago. And I think a lot of us played it, but I get the feeling a lot of you didn't play it. I think a lot of you thought of it as, I don't know, an investment. This is lottery.com. You know lottery.com. You go to the store, you buy their tickets. Powerball, scratch-offs. That's who we're talking about. Something went on. They had problems last year. They quit selling the tickets. Did you notice? Do you buy tickets on a regular basis? I don't. So I didn't notice. But they quit selling them July of last year and just started the market back up here in March, I think it was, maybe April. Just started the lottery back up. They had some financial problems. They got some financial backing. Big deal is they've gone digital. You'd have thought that had already occurred, but no, it just happened a little while ago. And they are selling U.S. lottery tickets abroad. They are selling them in other countries, and they get to sell them for a surcharge over there, a lot more expensive. And they love it. They love these big, massive fortunes we have sitting on the table for anybody to take. So the profit margin is huger, and they've got other ways that they're making money with the digitalization. So everything was looking good. Well, they fell behind on their financials. Well, when they got a warning that they were going to get thrown off of the major exchanges for this, they changed all their management. And it looks like it was a battle. Looks like old management got thrown out and somebody came in and he had to get things squared away. And they promised to get 5 filings in by the Monday, the 15th, I believe it was. And I talked to you about it on Sunday. And we were looking for those 5. And I said, if these come in, we've got a home run here. This is the lottery. This is gone digital. Everybody trusts them. They're going to grow. Their finances are good. The company's going to be making money. No matter what they're doing on the stock market, that's not going to stop their finances. They are getting better. But they didn't. They did not file what they were supposed to. They did get thrown off of the major exchange. They are now on the OTC. And everything falls when that happens. Now, you'll catch a bounce before she leaves the NASDAQ normally. You'll catch a bounce, a dead cat bounce when they come down to the OTC. Boink. And then she's going to sit down there until she changes things. And it's going to be tough for her to get back up to the NASDAQ. Can she do it? Yeah. It's going to take time. It's going to take some work. And it's a buying opportunity. As far as I'm concerned, it's the lottery, for God's sake. How much competition does the lottery.com have? And they work in 48 out of 50 of the states, including Washington, D.C., and now they're in other countries. To me, it's a no-brainer. Yeah, it looks bad, but so did Hertz when they went bankrupt and fell off the major exchange down to the OTC. They looked bad. Don't look bad now. You know, there's a lot of companies that fell down here and just got back up. Here's the bottom line. If you know the name off the tip of your tongue and you mention it to someone else and they know it just like that, that's a company you should probably be investing in. They've been branded. Everybody knows them. Nobody's going to let that die. They will resurrect it. They'll pump into it. Look at LATAM Airlines, the biggest debted company in the world. And they got it out of bankruptcy after 3 years. It was a nasty deal. Oh, they've got so many shares. They just ruined it. But bottom line is you're not going to let a beast that makes money die. So I think lottery right now is probably a fair investment considering where she could be if you're patient in a couple years. I don't know how long it's going to fix it, but you know the lottery is going to be here for a long time. You know that. So I think it's a great deal. What is their share structure right now? Well, it's under 50 million, so we don't have a bad float. We know what they do. What was their volume today? Half of what they normally do, dropping from 1.2 million to 648,000.
Yep.
Financials. Well, you can see there was a big, huge increase. All right. Yeah, they were down for a while. Things got bad. Things are getting better. It's just growing. That's really all I can say. Is there any new news? Did they finally say something here? Lottery.com receives expected notice. No. So they're still in hot water, and I expect it to take a while to fix, as most problems do. But get a starter position. If you believe lottery is going to be around for 10 years, you think they're going to be making money now that they're even selling digital, meaning you and I can buy them online. You can get a subscription, and they just send you your ticket into the email. You don't have to remember to go to the store. This is going to help them make a lot of money. You may want to get yourself a starter position right now. Maybe you want 1,000 shares. Maybe you want $1,000 worth. Buy some right now, $100 worth. Hold it. Maybe she dips more. It's okay. You only bought a little bit. You kind of like the cheaper price. That's okay. You're in it for the long run. So you want to buy it when it's low. Then when she gets back on the NASDAQ and the people who have money get to see lottery.com again, that sucker's going to fly. That's just my opinion. Can we take a look at that chart? Because I know it's had a lot of activity. It just isn't pretty.
Yep, you got to put me on.
Man, oh man, like a typical man.
I got a couple different ones here. Let me put this. Okay, there we go. This is the daily from its inception here at the end of 2021. So you can see what's happened. It came up to a high of $17.65. I don't see any splits or anything. Then it came all the way down here to around 8 cents is the low, give or take. So that's quite a dip. Let me go to this other chart here. There we go.
That was the drop. That's when they left the NASDAQ.
Yep. This is the 1 hour.
In case you couldn't tell.
Yeah. I just wanted to see the big picture first, and then I zoom in here.
Look at all the blood down at the bottom. Oh
yeah.
My God, big puddle.
This is the volume, huge selling volume, obviously. So we were around, 39, 40 cents. I guess this is when they were released from the NASDAQ, came way, just plummeted. But the good news is, like you were saying, it's a good time to buy. It has picked up a little bit of support here. Almost perfect. This looks pretty good here. Yeah, I like this. So it's not publicly traded. You have to do the OTC market, I believe, right?
What's that with the OTC?
It has to be on the OTC market. It is, right? You can't just buy this on a regular.
It's on the OTC now.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
It is a pink. It is a pink.
Right. So
How
it came down.
Yeah.
So it does look like it's picked up some support here, though. So, and honestly, coming up to the 200, that would be what, a 200% move or more, which is obviously enormous.
Yeah.
But it's slowly coming up. The volume is kind of up and down now. Obviously it had a lot here, but it's kind of up and down. I don't see it like,
in my opinion, for you folks who got in, had high hopes, honestly, if you got trapped, I would average down right now. If I were you, I'm not an advisor. I have no license. I can't tell you what to do. I'm just telling you, if I owned lottery, which I don't. I got out as soon as she didn't file on Monday. She started to fall. I think I lost, I don't know, maybe 0.5%. I didn't break even, but it was close. And I knew, no, you didn't keep your word with NASDAQ. They're not going to let you slide. I got the heck out of there. And then I could buy back in now. That would have been a much better thing. And I still might, because I believe in lottery.com. So if you got stuck holding a bag, turn that bag into a bag of loot. Average down. I'm sure you paid a lot more for it than it is right now. And it's going to be worth a lot more in the future. That's my opinion.
It could be for sure. Yeah, it absolutely could be. I do really like this support here on the 1 hour. That I like that.
It's a good start. I mean, she hit
It
the
is a
floor,
start. I mean, you gotta start somewhere.
climbing
So
out. You can't expect a lot of excitement. You know, she's crawling on hands and knees
Mhm,
after that fall. It was a big one, but she's moving up, which means
mhm.
she's not a quitter, you know, and she hasn't had any real big dips after that. I'm not saying it's the floor, but it very well could be.
Could be. Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
look
the
at that.
5 minutes. So uh,
Well, you know
yeah.
what? I wasn't going to cover this last stock, Taylor, but it's the last comment. It's the very last one. That just isn't right. So I'm going to look at RMP
Okay.
56 Cyto, and then we will have, I'll be able to sleep with a clear conscience. So that is Cyto. All right. Can you see me?
You pop you on.
See, that's why I asked. Pop you on. That sounds like a good name. Pop you on. Hi, I'm Pop you on. All right, Cyto, Altimeria Therapeutics. Okay, there's going to be a lot of big language here. All right, let's start off. Let's see what sort of interest there was in the stock. Oh, now goodness gracious, look at this. Look, we got a NASDAQ stock under $1. Always got to be concerned about that. You should always run over to the SEC filings, go through the 6Ks, 8Ks, those Ks, and see if there's a NASDAQ warning. Might even be in the news. They don't have to tell you by the news, but a lot of times they do. I don't know how long they've been there. Normally the chart can tell you, but most companies may get 6 months. Some companies only get 30 days. I don't know why. Well, that's a huge drop right there from 2.5 million down to 363,000. And still, we had almost a 5% gain. So the few investors who are there know what they're buying. They see value in this. You don't need a whole crowd. You just need a small crowd to see the value. Share structure. What? Oh boy, this I do due diligence on. They say there is a outstanding share count of 1,054,000. 54,000. Now on the major exchange, I know the NASDAQ for sure. There is a minimum float requirement. You just can't have any old numbers. They got minimums for everything. Share equity value, minimum bid price. Well, you can't have less than 1,000,000 shares on the market. So they better have at least 1,000,000 shares. And if they do, yeehaw! Oh my God, folks, you got the lowest float you can possibly have on the NASDAQ, which means it could skyrocket with just a little bit of volume. And given the right news, it could go crazy. But it moves just as fast in the opposite direction. You don't go to the bathroom when you're playing that stock. You sit there, bring a bottle with you. Don't turn your head. Let's see what we got here for financials. Okay, NASDAQ stock not making billions. Concerning. They had $70,000 at the end of 2021. Where's 2022? It is the OTC market. We're not saying they don't have them, but we don't have a lot of information here. Let's look at the disclosures, see if they're even listed over there. I don't see any 10Ks, though they could be a 6K. It is possible, most likely, since I don't see any 10Ks here whatsoever. It's probably buried in one of these 6Ks. It could even be an F filing. There's a lot of different financials. There's a lot of alternative financials. Let me see this F3. Don't be a financial. Nope. Putting shares on the market. There's a new one for that. That's not good. But let's take a look at that. That was today. 5.8 million common shares. Perspective relates to disposition from time to time. All right, so they're saying that they aren't going to have a full public offering, but they've got 5.8 million shares. They can sell anytime they want when they need pocket change, to get an extra coffee that day or whatever. They can do that. We got another F1 here. That was an F3. No, I'm not real familiar with these. These are something more to do with common shares. They have the right to sell 2.5 million shares at 20 cents per share. Read the details if you want to understand it. And we got a bunch of 6Ks here. You may find the financial in there. Any news going on? Yeah, they got lots of news. News here just yesterday. Company announces publication of peer-reviewed article and peptide-based RNA delivery for extremate targets. Peer review articles can be pretty important. This means the people who respect you, doctors reading doctor reviews. If you have a lot of people reading that review, and that's what you really judge, how many people read that review? You can go over to the review. They'll tell you where it's at, definitely. And you can look to see how many people read that review. Nobody like me and you is going to read it. It's doctors. So if you see a number in the hundreds, normally you get 12, 20 reviews. That's what you get. That's how many people will read these. So if you see anything over that, it's exciting. That could be a catalyst. Let me see here. Oh, that's a good one. The company reports positive top-line data from Bentrio clinical trial and seasonal allergic rhinitis. I don't know what that word is. I hate reading this medical stuff. They've got a lot going on here. It says they did just release a financial report here. That was a couple weeks ago. So that is there to be seen. So they've got catalysts going here. They've got some things going on that they've just released. Some top-line data. Don't know if it's phase 1, 2, or 3, but top line is the best. That's what you want to see. So that's worthy of investigation. And I think that pretty much covers everything except the chart. Can you please do us the honors of looking at that chart?
Yeah, a couple things here. Yeah, so a couple things here.
Right,
so on the on the 12th of April, they had some kind of positive results for one of their studies here. It says, the shares are soaring, and then the very next day, top pre-market decliners. So that's not good. I kind of looked at what was going on here. So basically, it was looked like a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing, I guess. This happened around here. So, we came up here to around the $3 range, and I guess it came up all the way back down to 130s. So there was a lot of price action around here, around the middle of April. Then we had another pop around the 1st of May, like the 4th, 5th of May. So came down here and it's kind of settled in this, $77, $78 range. Came up to 150. So that's like a 100% move right there. And it's come back down, but it hasn't come all the way back down except for a couple of wicks here. But as you can see, it's kind of tightening up again. So I see you. Except for, when we get these huge spikes in volume, I mean, it will pop. And I'm sure this is just a 1 minute kind of thing. Like you said, you cannot get up and walk away when you're in the middle of something like this because it's just, it will pop, come back down.
Can you imagine a million shares? If it sold 10 million shares in a day, imagine the supply and demand. There's only 1 million shares, so the people that just bought them are going to be forced to sell them if you want to buy them. And how much do they want for them? That's why you get stupid runs. So with the right piece of news, man, I put this on my watch list for news. First thing in the morning before the bell goes off, run over to the news, put in this ticker and see if anything comes up. With 1 million in the float, all you need is 1 day pop, and you could end up with a run like she's pointing out right now.
Yep, there's been several of those. Even just recently, there's been some spikes, and it will wick up and then come back down. I mean, that's a pretty big move. It doesn't look like it, but even here, it goes up to 94 cents and all the way back down to 83 cents. I mean, that's pretty substantial. It's more than 10%.
We hear that a lot down here on the OTC.
Yeah.
It doesn't look very big, but it's the motion in the ocean that counts. And there's a lot of waves going on down here, folks.
Right. But it does look like it's tightening up, maybe consolidating a little bit, and it's probably going to do it again. I mean, it has been doing it. We're seeing it right here. I mean,
But
huge
she's
volume
been in a
spike.
serious downtrend. She
Pops
doesn't
up.
really look
Oh,
hopeful.
definitely. Let me go to here. This is the
Oh,
daily.
God.
Here's the downtrend we're seeing. Okay. Yeah. You talk about a downtrend. I mean, but we did have
Wow.
several splits. Remember? No, so we've
It's
had
gone parabolic the wrong direction.
1 to 10 split in 2018, 1 to 20 split in 2019, and then recently this on 2022, October 2022. So that wasn't too long ago. 20 split, reverse split.
Well, I
here.
like that trading platform. I like all that news and information popping up, and you don't have to leave
I
the
do
screen.
too. Yeah. Yeah. So it does have another earnings coming up in August. So I would assume there's going to be some activity around this. So keep an eye on that or around the middle of August, especially a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing. So you can see this is coming up.
All right, we ran over by 15 minutes. I don't think that's a record. I think we got 23 minutes is the longest who's ever ran over.
That's all right.
But since they don't charge us by the minute or anything, hey, what the hey? We're just here gabbing with friends. Honey, I'm going to be a little late. We're still talking. That's okay. I appreciate you being here, folks. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for bringing the tickers you're bringing. You are bringing some good ones. I've got some due diligence to do here. Belmore brought one, that IDVV from Kashira. Oh, Kashira, you showed up again. Glad to see you here. These are some hot stocks. I can't look at everything. That's why I like to share, because I'm hoping you're going to share with me. I like to be showing good hot stocks too. Don't trust I find them all. You find them too, because you're doing due diligence just like I am. Right? All right, folks, we'll see you next week. Taylor, thank you for standing in for Lily. Hopefully she'll be back next week. Nothing against you, Taylor. You're an outstanding. If she's not, I'll be reaching out to you again. That okay?
Sure.
Fantastic. And I look forward to seeing all of you, in a matter of speaking, next week as well, folks. Thanks for showing up. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye-bye.